Hey, all right, how's it going, everybody? It's time for another episode of Heavy Water 77. I am one half of this fine show, Jerry, and this is my other half, the better half of the show, Joseph Staub. How you doing, man?
Doing well, doing well. Just got back from vacation. Looking forward to talking about this great album.
Yeah, I'm a little bit in the daze because I watched Styx. I'm not going to mention what it is, but man, I don't want to give too much information away, but it was very cringeworthy, and I still can't get it out of my head. But we'll talk about that when it comes. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I just want you to know Styx is my favorite band, one of my favorite bands. So I will never try to say anything disparaging about the band, but we'll when that comes up, we'll talk about it.
We'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to be doing the start of maybe the classic era of Styx, maybe with the album Equinox. I gotta say, yeah, I gotta say, I really enjoyed, talking about the Wood and Nickel albums, man. I thought they were a lot of they're great listenings, and it introduced me to some, not introduced me, but reintroduced me to some of their great music from that time period, man. And yeah, I mean, it's one of the probably the most iconic picture with them with John Curulewski, maybe.
Hmm.
But anyway, you got a little background in this album you want to discuss?
Yeah, sure. So there's actually quite a bit of background because this was a big transition period for the band. They're coming off of the four Wooden Nickel albums that we just talked about. And right after they had released the last one, Man of Miracles, is when their first big hit finally happened. We talked about it a little bit when we talked about Styx 2, but at around that time, late 74, early 75, their kind of pressure campaign on some local radio stations worked, and Lady finally started getting some airplay locally around Chicago. Finally, in other parts of the country, started picking it up. Lady ended up becoming a big hit, got them some recognition from other bigger record labels. Now, there's a lot of conjecture around this. If it depends on who you ask, I've seen two different quotes from the same person that tell a completely different story. So I really don't know exactly what to believe about it. I read quite a bit from Bill Trout, one of the co-owners of Wood and Nickel, about what kind of happened. On one hand, it sounds some people will say that Styx was free and clear to sign with another label, that their contract had come up. But then on the other hand, I've also seen that they owed Wood and Nickel like six more albums. So I've kind of seen multiple different things from different people. But anyway, early 1975, Lady finally breaks out, becomes a big hit. Styx gets noticed from all these different record labels. CBS, Warner Brothers were some that were brought up, as well as A&M. Um, and originally, Wood and Nickel and Bill Trout had actually kind of agreed with the band that, hey, RCA is not going to be able to do anything for you. Like you've pretty much hit your ceiling here for what we can do for you. We don't have the money to really push you guys as a big band. We would want you to be able to do that, to be able to go sign with somebody like A&M. So they started talks with A&M, but then I don't know what happened. I think some other managers got involved, and Styx ended up kind of saying they were going to stay with Wood and Nickel, but then going behind their back and signing with A&M, and a bunch of lawsuits happened. I think RCA sued Wood and Nickel, Wood and Nickel sued Styx and A&M Records. Styx sued RCA and Wood and Nickel. Everybody all started suing each other, and eventually Styx, it sounds like, had to pay basically to get out of their Wood and Nickel contract. They had to pay money. It sounds like they barely made any money on their first couple A&M albums because all of those profits were going to Wood and Nickel.
Right.
Um, so pretty much it was a messy situation. But as we know, it will definitely work out for Styx in the long run. Um, as to why they particularly signed with A&M Records, I read an interview with Dennis DeYoung who said we had received interest from CBS, we received interest from Warner, we received interest from A&M. He knew that if they made an album for CBS and Warner, it would be big, but that would probably be it. There'd be the one album that would really be what would they be able to push, and they CBS and Warner really probably wouldn't have the patience or really the interest to promote this band long term. But he knew that A&M did because of who was running A&M Records at the time. He knew that they would have good backing, and of course, we know that is what ends up happening. The Styx ended up getting a lot of backing from A&M. A&M really promoted this band, and it worked out for them in the long run. So by mid 1975, the band signs with A&M Records. December 1975, their first album on the record label comes out, Equinox, recorded throughout 1975 at the Paragon in Chicago, where they recorded most of their Wood and Nickel albums. This time it was produced solely by the band, although the engineer for the album was Barry Mraz, who had done production on most of the Wood and Nickel albums. This album immediately sold more than any of their previous albums had, went up to number 58 on the Billboard album charts. By the time The Grand Illusion came out in 77, this album had gone gold, and it included a top 40 hit that we will eventually talk about here on our episode. Do you have anything else that you wanted to kind of say about background here?
Yeah, this is like you can just tell the transition in this album, in my opinion. You can still hear shades of Wood and Nickel, but then there are some songs where you hear what they're going to become in the next couple albums. And some scores here from of course Rolling Stone gave it a 1 star, nothing new for Rolling Stone. All Music gave it 2.5, which is actually good because they've been shitting on all the Wood and Nickel albums, so that's good. And the Daily Vault give it a B. I don't know exactly how they grade that, but a B is a good grade, I guess. So we will leave it at that. And this is the last album to feature an original member. We'll talk about him at the end of the show. Of course, we're talking about John Curulewski. Everybody knows about that. And of course, they went on we'll talk about that later too. Some other guy, you may have heard his name, takes his place. Little seldom talked about person, but we'll get to that when it comes. But with that being said, let's get to the album, and we'll start out with the opening track, which is Light Up, written by Dennis DeYoung and sung by Dennis. What do you got on this song?
Yeah, I mean, this was the first song that I knew from this album. I talked about on one of our earlier episodes that I had the A&M Classics, the Purple compilation CD, and this and another song from this album are both on that CD. This was earlier on the CD. For some reason, when I was a kid, when it came to compilation CDs, we really listened to like the first like 3 quarters and then like never really listened to the end. So the
Yeah.
other song from this album is the second to last song on that CD. So I didn't know that one as well, but I knew Light Up like the back of my hand. Always been one of my favorite Styx songs. I love the intro that fades in the and then ba 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 bum.
You may
And we
have heard
talked
that riff
about
in the past. You may
you
have
may
heard that
have
riff in the
you may
past.
have heard that we hinted at that a couple episodes ago that there was a song that they would be kind of retreading a little bit, and that is the intro here to Light Up, and
What has come
then
between
it's
us, I think, right?
yes,
Yeah.
and so it goes into this great kind of almost reggae-ish groovy song about smoking weed.
Pretty
Um,
much.
Originally, I read that this song was actually going to be a tribute to the Beatles, and I don't know how exactly that was going to be,
Mm.
but it was going to be completely different lyrics. Um, and I think it almost, I what I'm thinking is, if the lyric that I saw is correct, it is almost 100% the opening line from Borrowed Time. Something about 65.
Right.
That was supposed to be the opening lyric for Light Up. They eventually used that for Borrowed Time. Um, but yeah, this is an amazing song. I read that they had got hired to play some kind of weed festival in California in '74, and that was what led them to write this song as a tribute to their experience there. But this is a absolute Styx classic. They still play it live pretty much every night. Um, it's gone through multiple different vocalists after Dennis left the band. JY sang it for a while. Now Lawrence Gowan sings it just because JY doesn't really sing much anymore. But yeah, no, this is just a great song, great opener for the album, great opener for this era of the band.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said there. What a great tune. And that might be some subliminal messages at the end too. In some of the lyrics, maybe. I don't know. But I mean, if you know this song, you know what it's about. There's no really hidden secrets in it. But yeah, it's a cool rocking tune. Like you said, it's got this really cool beat to it, which is awesome. And Dennis, man, is a star of this song, I think. Again, all kinds of keyboards,
Mm-hmm.
piano, synthesizers. I think John Saluski plays a couple of the synths on this one, but still. It's a great freaking tune, man. I love this song. And you mentioned they play this. Maybe not every, well, maybe they do probably do this pretty much in
I
every
don't think they're doing it on
set
this
list.
tour right now, but
Yeah.
they've played it pretty much every time I've seen them.
Yeah. The only time I've ever seen him, I see Dennis do it when he was with them, and I seen JY do it. I've never seen Lawrence do it. Somebody didn't you
Lawrence
say
did it
Lawrence
the
does it now?
last, yeah, the last
Uh,
two times I think. Well,
right.
the last two or three, but I think the couple times before that was because one of the shows I saw, JY was not with them. It was when his wife was sick.
I got you.
So he sang it then, and then when I saw them last year, Lawrence sang it again.
Mhm. Yeah, this is the first album that actually gets to start out with the JY vocal. He does start off with side two with the killer vocal, but we'll get to that when it comes. But yeah, man, this is a great tune, man. It's one of my favorite songs by him too. But actually, there's a song on here. It's a deep track, which I fucking love. But again, I'm jumping the gun. Sorry, but we'll get to the next song, which is Lorelei. What do you got on that?
Yeah, this was the big hit off the album, went to number 27 on the Billboard charts. And this, surprisingly enough, was a song that I did not know by Styx until I was older, because this was not on that Classics CD. It was on the 95 greatest hits compilation, but I didn't own that one until I was older. And then when I finally actually got around to sitting down and listening to the whole album, then I heard Lorelei and knew that. Another one that they still play live quite a bit. Um, just a great track. You can tell it's almost kind of it was definitely their attempt at a hit. In the kind of tradition of Lady, it's more upbeat than Lady was. But I kind of almost see them as sister songs a little bit. Because that they were their first two hits, and I just think it's another great Dennis track. Um, yeah, and another the keyboards are great on this one too. Yeah, that iconic intro, just another great track on this album.
Yeah, it's one of the songs you recognize immediately by the intro with that cool keyboard from Dennis, man. Dude, I love the when Dennis starts singing, that guitar riff comes in, dun, dun, dun. It's just really, really cool. I mean, it blends well with the keyboards. The chorus is amazing. The harmonies are amazing. And they do this thing like in the middle of the song where it's Laura, and then Laura. It's like how they repeat each
Yeah,
other. I
the
love that part.
delay, I love that.
They actually do that on a song coming up too. We'll talk about that again when it comes in. God, I'm jumping the gun today, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm excited because we're actually, in the classic era of Styx, which is the funnest era to talk about. But as far as this song goes, man, I love this song. I think this is another one that JY sang for a while as well, too. I think.
He
Does he still
might
do this
have,
one? Yeah, I
but
think he's done it when I've seen him.
every time I've seen him, it's been Lawrence Gowan that sings it.
God, it's been so long since I've seen him. Yeah, I think it was JY that sang it, if I remember right.
I think
Anyway,
I've only seen them do it the last two times I've seen them. They didn't play it for a while
mm,
before that. But the last two times I've seen them, it was Lawrence Gowan that sang it. The only song, unfortunately, that JY really sings in concert anymore is Miss
Miss America.
America.
Right. That's probably why I don't think you'll see Pieces of Eight because I don't think he does.
It's
He can
such a
handle two
JY
songs.
album.
It
Yeah.
really is. So, but I'm happy with the Grand Illusion, and they are coming to Knoxville, but they're by themselves. So I don't know if they're going to do the same set list with the Grand Illusion album, or they might do something different. Usually, when they do one-offs, they'll have like a lot of songs you won't expect them to do. So
Mm-hmm.
either way, I think it's going to be a good show. But yeah, man, this is a great song, dude. Big hit. Well, their first attempt at a big hit. But anyway, we're going to move on to the next song, which is Mother Dear, written by John Curulewski and Dennis DeYoung. Sung by
Yeah.
all three of them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, like you said, this is the last co-write in the Styx catalog of an actual song. We'll get into something later on the album. There's a small little segue that John Curulewski had to do with, but this is the last co-write of a full-length song that JC has in the catalog. He has co-lead vocals as well. Really cool synthy prog song. There's some really great guitar work in the middle of this song. It's a cool track. I wouldn't say this is one that necessarily really stands out too much, but for what it is, I think it's a really good track. It's a great album track. It's a really kind of a high note for John Curulewski to go out on, I would say, as a vocalist here.
Yeah. This is the song I was talking about. I absolutely fucking love this song, dude. I think it's so cool. You got those spacey keys at the beginning. Now it fades in and then and then it starts rocking. It's got everything you want in a cool stick song, man. The great harmony in the vocals, amazing. It's a cool change of pace. And it's like they haven't really done anything like this. I mean, similar, but it's kind of
Yeah.
fresh sounding, which is what I really like about this song. Yeah, this is probably my second favorite song off this album. The instrumentation, especially around the 225 mark I had written down here, is incredible, dude. The chorus, again, sounds really good. This is a gem, man. It's a song that when I listen to when I listen to Equinox, I just love listening to it. I have to go back and repeat it. It's so good. I think it's a great song. One of their better deep tracks. So we'll move on to the next song. We'll end side one and Lonely Child, written by Dennis.
Yeah. So this is another cool kind of Dennis ballad. If I had to pick a least favorite song on the album, this would probably be it. But I still think it's a good song. But at this point, when you've heard 5 albums into their catalog, when you've heard one Dennis DeYoung ballad, you've pretty much heard them all. This really, I wouldn't say is one of his better ballads, but it's a good track for what it is. I kind of find it a little bit weird for them to close out a side of an album with this. I think the last song, if you would have flipped these two, I think it would have been cooler. Although then you would have had 3 Dennis DeYoung vocals in a row. I don't know. I mean, he basically sings this whole album, so
Yeah,
it's getting to that point in the catalog where Tommy
right.
Shaw isn't here yet, and Dennis DeYoung's just singing everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is cool. You finally get to hear a little bit of John Strelowski's. I don't know if it's acoustic or a clean electric. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. But again, Dennis is a star yet again with those spacey keys, man. I love his keyboard sound on this album. Yeah, I agree with what you said. It's not my favorite song on the album, but it's still good. I mean, I wouldn't skip anything off this
Yeah,
album. Um, and Chuck, man, with his bass on this one, he's definitely like what Will Ferrell did in the Blue Oyster Cult episode, exploring the space, as Bruce Dickinson said, explore the space. And Chuck is definitely doing that here, man. Fat sounding bass, incredible, incredible playing by him and his brother yet again. Awesome song. What a great way to end side one. Cool, cool, cool. I'm sorry, I use notes, everybody. Um, we'll move on to side two, which is a fucking great side. I'm gonna be a spoiler here. Midnight Ride, man, written by JY. What do you got?
yeah. I mean, what a way to open up side two. If you're not going to open up the album with it, at least you're opening up a side with it.
All right.
Holy crap! Probably one of my favorite songs on the album. Heavy as hell. Just a great JY rocker. The screams on this are amazing. Those high harmony vocals. I mean, just easily one of my favorite JY songs. If I had to make my top 10 list of JY stick songs, this would be towards the top. Just a great way to open side two. Like you said, spoiler alert, this side is practically perfect in every way.
It is.
It is. If I had to just take sides of an album, this might be one of my favorite sides of Styx.
All right. Yeah, I mean, this is the JY we've used to seeing in the Wood and Nickel or listening to. I mean, in the Wood and Nickel area. This song's a burner, dude. From start to finish, man. Those highs in that chorus, holy shit, man. Just when you think they couldn't get any more higher, damn. And you got some cowbell in it, a little bit of cowbell in it, which is cool, man. A definite team effort, yet again, from the whole band. Um, just tearing it up. Vocally, especially that slow down with that lead and the ooh, really cool, dude. Smoking way to open this album, dude. Or side two of this album, excuse me. All right, so we'll move on to the next song, which is Born for Adventure, written by Dennis, JC, and JY.
Yeah. I mean, right from the beginning of this song, Chuck Panazzo on the bass, man. Whew. That bass coming in on the intro and then the guitars dueling over top of it. Just a really amazing song. It's kind of different for a Dennis song, I would almost say. This almost seems like something that would be more of a JC song, I would say. I would think from what we were kind of looking at song wise in the Wood and Nickel era. This song fits JC. Some amazing acoustic playing in the middle of this song. Just an amazing track, keeping the momentum going here on side two. A really great deep cut that I never hear people talk about.
Right. Yeah, I agree with everything you said yet again. It's an incredible song, dude. This album just keeps smoking along. You mentioned Chuck's fat bass sound through it is incredible. I like the vocals, how it's like quiet and then loud, kind of like the best of times a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That with that delivery. I mean, what else more can I say that you haven't said, man? This song just fucking rocks, dude. And you're right, it's a little different for a Dennis song, but it works. So,
Yeah.
all right, we'll move on to the first instrumental on the album, and the last time we'll get to hear from our one of our favorite. Well, not one of our. Well, they're all favorites. You know, John Curulewski's last writing credit, Prelude 12.
Yeah, this is just a cool little acoustic intro for the epic track that we're about to talk about. I mean, pretty much every review we've done so far, at least one time on the album, we've said, damn, this is some great acoustic playing from JC. And so it's cool to hear him going out with that. Just a really cool acoustic intro.
Yeah, I love it. They did that when I saw Dennis a few years back. They actually did this before they broke into Sweet Mountain Blue. What's cool about it, it teases going into Sweet Mountain Blue all the way through it. You're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
here comes Sweet Mountain Blue. Nope, doesn't. Sounds like Sweet Mountain. Nope, doesn't. And then
Nope.
it finally does. But yeah, it's a great acoustic track, especially when it speeds up a little bit. I mean, nothing more we can really say about it except it's really, really cool acoustic playing by John on this one. All right, that somewhat segues into the last song on the album, which you may have heard of it before. Sweet Madam Blue, written by Dennis, man. What do you got on it?
Yeah, I mean, easily a top 10 Styx song for me. Just epic. It really kind of is a precursor to a song that will be probably their biggest hit ever. It has that kind of set up to it, has the kind of quieter intro with the verses, and then really builds up into a big, heavy instrumental back end. And yeah, the vocals here on this are amazing. Dennis sounds great, and then the harmonies come in. You have the America section that's just so cool. That kind of does the same thing, like you said earlier, with with the Lorelei vocals,
Yeah.
uh oh, what's it called? The delay effect on the vocals, the America,
Yeah.
America, America.
Yeah, it's
It's yeah,
awesome.
it's one of my favorite Styx songs. One that I still have not gotten to see them play live yet, and I am really looking forward to the day I get to see them play it. I've told the story before that I was thinking I was going to see them play it last year, and they ended up playing Man in the Wilderness instead, which I will never ever turn that down. So
Right.
yeah, just an amazing song, great way to close out the album. Just a really great introduction to Styx on a major label.
Right. And for all that, I'll give you a little hint. The song that Joe's referring to eventually, it's kind of sounds like it's off an album, 2 albums away from now, I believe.
Yes.
But that is the only hint I'm going to give you. You all know anyway. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, dude, this is classic, man. This is, to me is I don't know, Lorelei, I guess is, but this is the first song besides Lady, of course, where I consider classic. I mean, major classic, dude. And you mentioned anything about you mentioned everything already about the slow guitar part, that 12 string, the vocal from Dennis is just so cool. What else more can I say except I love the keyboard solo before it goes into the America. That it goes real
Mm-hmm.
fast and high, and then the man, one of the heavier riffs they've done so far.
And in that same
Incredible.
section, John
Yeah.
Panazzo's drumming on that
Oh yeah.
thunderous
Dun
boom
dun.
boom.
Yeah, I agree. Caveman drums. I love that shit. But yeah, I mean, this song is almost perfect. I would actually call it a perfect song in my opinion. Love how it ends too. The drum comes in. What a fucking way to end their first A&M album, dude. This album smokes. It still smokes. I still listen to it quite often. And
And the cover, I mean, one of my
yeah,
favorite Styx
uh,
covers.
yeah.
That is a cool picture.
Yeah. It's like they were spending some kind of money on it. I mean, they all have their shirts on in the picture,
Yeah.
which is a plus. But Yeah, I mean, as far as the classic era, this is the, great way to start. Classic A&M era, whatever you want to call it. But all right. As I said earlier, this is the last album to feature the great John Curulewski. Of course, we know he died at the very young age of 38 from a brain aneurysm. I mean, what do you got as far as greatest moments from JC? What do you think, man?
Well, I mean, I kind of mentioned it a little bit ago, but just the kind of depth that he brought to their sound in this era of those first five albums, his acoustic playing, his synth playing, that kind of progressive edge that he brought to the band. I mean, especially on some of the tracks we've talked about in the Wood and Nickel era, that was what his kind of his shining period. He just always had such a different kind of sensibility to the rest of the band. You really kind of, we've talked about it before, but you really had JY that was really at home with the hard rockers, Dennis that was more at home with kind of the ballads or the kind of showy tune kind of things, and then JC that really just had a great handle on these kind of progressive epics in some cases. And he wrote so many really, really great tracks in that Wood and Nickel era, even the ones he didn't sing. He had a ton of great tracks. His acoustic playing really brought that extra kind of depth to the band's sound, and he's a guy that if it would have literally if he would have been replaced by literally anybody else, you would say that he was greatly missed. But unfortunately for him, who they replaced him with brought his own level of excellence to the band immediately on the next album. So it's kind of hard that I think that people don't give JC enough credit because of who he was replaced by.
True. Yeah.
I think that people would talk about him a lot more if they had replaced him with literally anybody else, or if they would have just gone down to a four piece. I
Mhm.
think that if literally anybody but Tommy Shaw ended up in that band in 1975, John Serluski would be talked about a lot more. But
Right.
just in general, like we said, the Wood and Nickel era doesn't really get talked about that much aside from really Lady.
Lady. Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if you asked a just casual Styx fan, they probably think Tommy Shaw's on this album.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they think Tommy Shaw's
Yeah.
on this album. So it's kind of sad for John Serluski, who added so much to this band in the early days, to not get that kind of credit. And then especially because he kind of just, aside from a couple local bands, really just kind of
Got out of the
left the
spotlight.
music business.
Yeah.
And I think it's a shame because he added so much to this band, and I don't think he ever really got the credit he deserved for it.
Mhm.
And if ever Styx would somehow end up in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I really hope that they honor his legacy and that he's inducted and they at least mention him, because I
Yeah,
think he
I
added so
think they
much.
will. I think they will. But yeah, it's really sad. He's got this little grave mark and it's a little stone, and I forget the name of the cemetery. It's like you see grass kind of growing over it a little bit. It's actually kind of sad, actually. But I kind of hope that the band still thinks about this guy. I mean, well, JY and Chuck anyway. They're the only two probably people that remember him or knew him personally. I'm sure Dennis does too, but they never talk about him very much. They never do. There's a little bit on the behind the music. They talk about him for maybe what 2, 3 minutes at the most, I think.
Yeah,
But like we said, died at 38 of a brain aneurysm. Man, that's just now there was differing reasons why he left the band. I kind of heard different things. I know he wasn't happy with Dennis taking over the control. Then I hear again that he didn't like how Wood and Nickel was promoting them. But then he got to A&M and he's like, well, they're not promoting us either. So I don't know which is true and what's not. Have you heard of those?
from me, it kind of sounded like it just he was a little unstable personality wise at the time, that he was a little out there and he had some issues and he wanted to just get out. And I from everything that I've heard, he quit. It wasn't a you need to get out of here kind of thing.
Correct.
He left them and he wanted to go spend some time with his family, which is exactly what he did. He ended up I read a story that he into the 80s actually became like a teacher and
Mhm.
became at his kid's school. And so I think he really, for as young as he died, he did get to spend some time with his family, which is good. Um, and yeah, I mean, I wish that he would be a bigger name in the legacy of the band.
I mean, you hit it right on the money when you said if it was anybody else but Tommy Shaw taking over, he probably would have gotten a little bit more notoriety. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, rest in peace, John. Thank you for the great music. Me and Joseph will never forget it, and I hope you people never forget it either, because I thought his writing contribution to the band was really, really good. And don't forget him because his music's great. All right, so that is our episode of reviewing of the album Equinox. We're going to be getting to some more, probably more classic albums coming up with John C's replacement. Joseph mentioned his name, but you may have heard his name anyway before. Maybe is it Neil Schon? Is it Joe Perry, Tommy Shaw, or Tom Schultz? You pick. But anyway, thank you again, everybody, for subscribing, listening, viewing, whatever you can to get us out there. And we, hope you enjoy what we're doing. We're going to continue to do it, and nothing's going to stop us. We have some cool shows coming out that aren't reviews, so look forward to that. And Joseph, anything last words, man?
Yeah, no, we're really going to be getting into the classic era of the band here, and I hope that everyone will come along for the ride here. These are going to be the albums that people know about. So
Yeah,
if you liked us talking about albums you didn't know about, imagine what you'll think of us talking about albums you've
right.
heard of.
Yeah. And we are probably going to have some guests on more often too with some of our shows. So
Yep.
get ready for that. Get ready to rumble. Anyway, thank you all. Y'all be good, and we're out of here. So y'all take care. Bye bye.